Hey guys, welcome to probably my most proudest Kerbal Space Program video. This is the one where we land people on Mars. Or Duna for Kerbal Space Program wise. But, so, right now, so here was the plan. We had an orbiter in orbit who would pick the people and the lander up. And then we also had the lander, which is coming in right now. So, it would land. It would come up into orbit, connect with the orbiter, and then the orbiter would have enough fuel to get it back home. And that's kind of what happened, and you'll have to watch the rest to see. So right now we're doing the interception thingamajiggy with Mars, and we are, I'm just going to be calling it Mars because it's like, I don't know, easier to remember. So right now we're intercepting with Mars, and we're going to do a burn to get into its orbit. There we go, and then we gotta set up that maneuver node so that it's easier to get to Mars. And let me take this mic off the stand. So let's see. Getting it close enough to where we will be like almost in Mars' atmosphere, but not like in the atmosphere, so that it gives us time to refine our orbit and stuff like that, and try to get closer to the landing spot where we can intercept with the orbiter, as close as possible. Also, I'm doing this voiceover because this episode is more how would I say it? Complicated, and it would be easier for people to understand if I did a voiceover. I haven't done one of these in a while. So right now we're just waiting for this maneuver node. So basically, that's why I'm just talking about nothing. So just waiting for the maneuver node, and now we're actually doing it. This is going to get us into Mars's orbit, which is good because we can get land. We can actually land with it once we get into an orbit. And I don't know why the yellow line's freaking out so bad. This was about 50 minutes of clips, and I got it down to 20, so that's why everything's so fast, because I had to speed it up so that it wouldn't be like an hour-long video. Time warping so that we're closer to Mars. There we go. And then about at this point we start making it so that our orbit is closer to the orbiter so that we can land and then be as close to a good spot to launch from Mars and get back up to the orbiter as possible. We want to get the best spot. So that's what that maneuver node is. And it's making everything easier. And it's also making it so we don't have to use more fuel than necessary. Just performing that maneuver node, and oh wait, no, we're not performing it yet. We're just moving the ship, which is good because that's what we need to do. There we go. We just did the burn, and now our orbit should be fixed, I'm pretty sure. Oh, for some reason it said we got an encounter with Ike, Duna's moon, and except we didn't, which was kind of confusing. So I don't know why that happened, but it did. Don't know if it was just the game glitching, or anything like that. There we go. Now we're gonna be performing the burn soon, where we actually start landing on Mars and going through its atmosphere, and hopefully it goes good. There we go, performing that burn, and then it cuts off to where we are actually closer and landing, and I probably used more fuel than necessary, but there we go. We just entered the atmosphere, and I started burning so that we didn't burn up because I forgot to add a heat shield, which is kind of crap, but it was too late now, so we had to go with it. There we go. I stopped using the engine to try to conserve fuel, but it's immediately got surrounded by flames again, so quick saving in case I mess it up. I made a lot of quick saves during this entire thing, but basically, so that was Ethan. I don't know if you just heard that. I'm on a call with him. So basically, burning more. Now I realized I was getting close to the ground, so I needed to burn so that the parachutes, instead of being in red, are in yellow. Because once they turn yellow, it means that they are actually can be deployed. And I overloaded this thing with parachutes because Mars's atmosphere is thinner than Earth's, so parachutes don't work as well. And then I expand those landing legs, and we start heading straight down. 13 meters a second is probably not, or how do I say this? Like, it's not fast enough to where I don't think the legs would break, but just to be safe, I started firing the engine to get it meters per second as close down as we could. We did a little bounce, and we successfully landed. So now I'm just letting the Kerbals out on EVA so that I can plant the flag, which is probably the most important part of the mission, making a quick save where I landed, letting him down, and planting the flag. I actually made that quick save because I didn't know if the EVA packs could get the Kerbal back up to the thing since I forgot to put a ladder on. So if it couldn't have, I would have had to load back that quick save and just had to done the mission without a flag being planted. But luckily he was able to get back up, and yeah. And then I actually launch and go to the orbiter, but I mess up, so I cut back to letting and planting another flag down. So, yeah. Flying back up with the Jebediah. And then he gets back in. And then actually we let out our engineer because engineers can repack chutes. And we're going to need these parachutes back on Kerbin when we land because it's such a big craft with the orbiter attached to it too. So putting all the or repacking all the parachutes. And then we move that, fire up the engine. Now we're actually heading back to the orbiter's orbit. So we have to launch in a perfect spot so we intercept with the orbiter. And then it just cuts because it took me a while to get into that perfect orbit. So now we're back with we're connecting to the orbiter. We're in a perfect orbit and we are heading closer to it. And yeah. Docking with the orbiter actually was harder than I thought it would be, and it was kind of annoying doing that, but I don't know, it worked. So, opening both of the, what are they called? The docking ports, and pointing the ships at each other so we can get a nice easy landing, which obviously didn't happen because I had to cut a lot of stuff out, so that's probably why. Turning this ship towards the other ship, and then getting rid of that other stage because we don't need it. It's too strong for that. And at this point I still didn't really know what I was doing, so I was like just doing it, and they were like really spinning around each other instead of actually docking. So I had to do something else. I had to slow down the thing. I had to slow down the orbit because they were just spinning. And I almost hit that booster. My engine made that booster spin. There we go. So I slowed down, pointed both of the ships at each other, which you'll see in a second, and then fired the engine and started heading towards the other ship. And that ended up working. And we ended up docking. So now all we gotta do is return to Kerbin. Easier said than done, but controlling or making it so I'm controlling from the engine with the most fuel, and then shutting down the other engine so it doesn't just like explode on itself. Then I go and check I make another quick save, and then I go and check where Kerbin is because I need to see where to make the burn so it'll be most efficient. And yeah, you'll see that in a second. Creating that maneuver node, and then speeding up time so that we can get there easier. And so then speeding up time and then performing the maneuver node, which will get us in an orbit around the sun instead of around Duna, Mars, so that we can easily get to Kerbin. There we go, performing that maneuver node. As you can see, the blue line, I don't know how well you'll be able to see it on YouTube, but you can see the blue line going. And then, accidentally did too much, so 17 meters of fuel were wasted, but it's not that much. Although we could have used it, once you see later. Setting Kerbin as our target. There we go. And now I just kind of guessed, and I ended up getting really close to Kerbin, so that's pretty good. Now we're intercepting with Kerbin, which is the Earth, the Kerbal Space Program. So now, bye-bye Mars. We're time warping away from Mars so that we can't accidentally run into it or anything. And we also are now just got a time warp over there, so not really much to say. Just checking the fuel right here. Time warping a little bit more. And then time warping to the burn. And then performing the burn. It cuts to after the burn. And we're pretty much almost intercepting with Earth. And we are intercepting with Earth right now. So now I have to make the maneuver to get into Earth's orbit. So just checking that and making that right now. Time warping to the burn. Waiting for the ship to move to the point where the maneuver node is supposed to be at, because the game tells you that, which is really nice. Now we're just waiting for the burn. There we go, performing the burn to get us into an orbit. And 900 meters of fuel, which is quite a lot considering that we don't have much left. which I didn't really pay attention to, so I made some riskier like plays, and which I probably shouldn't have done because I didn't look at the fuel, which could have gone really bad. I also didn't make a single quick save, so if I mess this up, then game over. There we go. And then I get the, I make the orbit a little smaller so that we actually like go into Earth's atmosphere. That's what I'm doing right here, just checking. There we go, and then it's good, so I time warp over. And then I still didn't notice that I only had 687 meters of fuel left. So that's not good. Making another quick, oh wait, there we go, I just made a quick save in case I messed up, which is good. I didn't realize I made that. There we go. And then time warping, making our orbit a little smaller, which I probably shouldn't have done. And then we start the scary part. I use the engine and the remaining fuel to slow us down. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but the meters per second is going down greatly. We're 2,800 right now, which is a lot, and we are on fire, so just trying to slow down as much as possible. Then remove that booster. I actually thought that booster was going to crash into us, but it didn't, luckily. So the ship was fighting me, and the heat shield is supposed to go towards like the way you're facing so that all the fire gets like pushed away from the ship. But the ship kept fighting me and it wanted to go sideways. So that's why those bars keep coming up. That means overheating, which means exploding and dying. So I had to keep fighting it to keep it so that it wouldn't overheat. So that's why the bars keep coming up and then coming back down. Just checking where I'll land, and I ended up landing in the on land when it said I was gonna land in the water. So now I'm not getting any more overheating, so I'm like, oh yes, maybe I might actually do it. So I set one of the parachute's altitude to 5,000 meters so that it can slow down the ship some more. The fire slowly dies down, and at this point I knew I had done it. But I was still a little nervous because if the parachutes didn't deploy, well, you know what happens next. I was thinking about this, like disconnecting it. Like, I don't know how to say that, but like, then the parachutes deployed and it started slowing down a bunch, and I realized that I didn't need to. Which worked in my favor anyway, because I could use the landing legs on the ship on the top to land, because it got forced to the bottom. So I was able to land it on the landing legs, which meant no problem or no worries about anything exploding unless it decided to do a big bounce for some reason. Going 30 meters a second with only one parachute deployed, so at this point I really knew that I'd done it. And I was so happy because I've never, in the entirety of playing this, I've never landed anyone on a different planet and got them back without cheating. But yeah, so that was pretty crazy. Cutting to a slowed down version so that it's not as fast, so you can really enjoy it landing. 300 meters from the ground, going 5 meters a second. It's pretty much guaranteed that I land, so yeah. I didn't actually have full faith that this plan would work, but luckily it did end up working, which was pretty dang cool. Slowing down because we're about to hit the ground, so not time warping, and 80 meters from the ground, going 5 meters, exactly 5 meters a second, so that's pretty cool. Then 50 meters, 40 meters, 30 meters, then 20 meters, 10 meters, and then touchdown. We had successfully landed people on the surface of Mars and then gotten them home safely. This was the biggest relief. I've ever had while playing Kerbal Space Program. So, I was gonna let Jeb die out, but then I realized I wouldn't be able to collect the ship or him, like, recover because the packs don't work. But, yeah, this was crazy. But thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for all the work that I've done through these past couple videos.